Cordisco's Corner Store is hosting its 5th annual chess championship. The Broome County Chess Championship Francis Cordisco Memorial got started over the weekend. Organizer John Cordisco says it's an opportunity for chess fans, both experts and newcomers, to test their level of skill. There are 2 sections depending on level of play, and both have cash prizes for the top 3 winners.
We draw some really good players. There's some pretty good players in this county, and it's a very high quality chess compared to the number of people in the area. It's a great tournament, and I encourage people to come down and just to watch if they want.
The second and final round is this Sunday from 10 until 4, and it takes place at Cordisco's Corner Store at 308 Shenango Street in Binghamton.
Well, here it is, folks, the first Super Tournament of the year, 2015, the 77th Tata Steel Chess Tournament. Great action, great tournament, great world-class players. Don't miss any of the action. And here are the standings after 11 rounds in the 77th edition of Tata Steel Chess, the Masters section. Magnus Carlsen from Norway, current world champion with 8. Wesley So, originally from the Philippines, now playing from the U.S., just a half a point behind. Maxime Vacher-Lagrave, Giri and Ding with 7. Ivanchuk, I like him a lot. Chess genius, interesting character. He has 6.5 as well as Caruana. Rajabov with 5.5. Wosaitik, I believe it's pronounced, with 5. Aronian with 5. Huey Fan, women's world champion with 4. Van Wheelie with 3.5. Sarek with 3. And Joe Bava, poor Joe Bava, 1.5. I gotta say again, I'm not picking on Levin Aronian, but I'll tell you, it's tough. He's one of the best players in the world. I don't know what's happened the last year or so. He had an okay year last year, but ever since he didn't do that well in the candidates final, was the first when Magnus won on tiebreaks against Kramnik to beat Anand the first time, something seems to come out of him. He's still a good guy. He's still a nice guy, but something happened. Hopefully he can recover. Anyway, folks, that's the standings after 11 rounds. 2 rounds to go. Hi, folks. John Cordisco back again. Another game from round 12. One of my favorite tournaments, the 77th edition of Tata Steel Chess. This is the Masters section. As White, someone that needs no introduction in the chess world, a brilliant player, genius player, and very interesting guy. Vasily Ivanchuk is White. An Italian-American, Fabiano Caruana, playing for Italy as Black. Fabiano's come up a long ways in the last year or so. Top player, number 2 in the world. Let's see how this turns out. Ivanchuk is White. Caruana is Black. It's going to be a Grunfeld. Kind of starts out a little different, but turns into a Grunfeld. Knight c3, d5. That's the Grunfeld. Bishop, Knight. Bishop f4. Interesting. Those of you that were wondering if knight takes d5, what would have happened? Knight takes, e6, knight takes, queen takes, and that's it. White loses. After bishop f4, knight takes, pawn takes, c5, c takes, queen takes, e3. Interesting. Gets the light squared bishop out, but that poor dark squared bishop on f4 doesn't have any places to go. We'll see how this works out. There's no knight on that side of the board, so that's a really good spot for that bishop. C takes and c takes. Okay. So I always say, what to do, what to do. I played around with the Grunfeld a little bit. I'm not that good of a player, so I kind of went off it, but usually I'll play King's Indian against d4. Grunfeld's a lot sharper. Well, King's Indian can be sharp too. Black castles, bishop e2, queen checks, king to d2, queen takes, king takes. Okay, the queens are off the board, so it's no huge deal that Ivanchuk as White hasn't castled. It's about 2/3 of a pawn advantage with my Fritz computer on off screen. Another thing I don't like about Black's position is the fact that he's got 2 minor pieces undeveloped. But he'll take care of that quickly enough. Knight to c6. Rook comes over. to the only open file on the board. Rook to d8. Now interesting, bishop d3 is the computer's choice. Pretty good. Bishop b5. Okay, and then rook c5, but Ivanchuk decides to go to king to e1. Now, with queens off the board, I'm not sure, and the computer agrees with me. I'm not second-guessing Vasily Ivanchuk. He's a genius of chess. I just was wondering what his thought process was at this point. He just probably wants, and I don't blame him, king off this file. You know, pawn here. I'm sure that was just thinking. I can't blame him a bit. And who the heck am I to question Vasily Ivanchuk? Holy crow. Bishop f5. h3. Stops g4 square. Anybody from going to g4 square. That's pretty good. h5. Knight hitting the bishop. Bishop goes back to c8. Now, where else are you going to put it? e4. e6, c8, they're all about the same. He just gets it out of the way. I just don't like the fact that rooks aren't connected anymore, but right now it's not a problem. Bishop c4 puts the bishop right out there on black's king. Knight takes d4. Interesting. Let's go back here. Knight takes d4 is the computer move. And what to do, what to do? Would you take the knight? Vasily decided to hit the rook instead. And after rook d7, pawn takes, rook takes. Not rook takes. And then bishop checks. And of course, that's doomed. Rook takes, bishop takes, rook a to c1. And it's one of those weird instances. It's two pieces and a pawn for a rook and a knight. Little advantage for white. I don't like it, and that's why he didn't play it. Rook takes d4, knight takes. Interesting move there, knight takes. Rook checks instead first, the in-between move. King to f1, bishop takes, bishop to d5. Wow, this is crazy stuff. Went through that a little fast here. Let's take a look at the position here. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Of course, my arrow from the bishop on g7 is a little crooked, but the bishop's hitting the rook on a1. White's knight's in prey. I mean, this is crazy stuff. So he took the pawn, rook checks, the in-between move. That's important to have that. But you have to move the rook, or let the bishop hit the rook. King moves, bishop takes, bishop d5. Bishop takes. Interesting, he didn't take. He's going to lose the knight no matter what. He didn't take. Knight takes e7. It's not even listed on one of the computer moves, so I really haven't analyzed that. We'll have to see. You can't take the knight currently with the bishop there, of course. This is a lot more complicated than it looks. Moves the bishop up to hit the knight. Bishop takes the rook. Bishop takes bishop. Now knight to e7 check. And we're back at even material. All that, we're back at even material. That's why these guys are world-class players, and I'm not. I mean, I wouldn't have figured that out. That's incredibly complicated. Has to move the king. Rook takes. The in-between move again. Bishop checks. King to g1. Pretty even game now. King takes. Opposite color bishops, if you noticed. Here and here. Looks drawish. Rook to e1. King f6. He's bringing his king up. Black's pawns are pretty butchered on the king side, but we'll have to see how this works out. Opposite color bishops, he should be okay. Rook to c8. Finally, we're on move 29, and that rook finally moved. Bishop checks. King g7, rook e3. I think they're just consolidating here for the draw. Rook c4, f3, bishop, rook e7, bishop e6, rook takes, rook a4, Rook b5. King comes up. You can pretty much see this is petering out. Rook takes and rook a5. And he'll play rook takes, bishop takes, and that's the end of that. Move 38. Vasily Ivanchuk and Fabio Caruana decide to draw. And that's a good result. It was a good game. It got real complicated there, I thought, in the middle game. I might have went through it a little fast, so if you guys want to stop the video and check it out, feel free. Anyway, folks, that's another game from round 12. Two top players in the world from the 77th edition of Tata Steel Chess. I hope you enjoyed it. I do want to take time out here to tell all you my viewers and my new subscribers, thank you very much. In the last month or so, I've gotten a lot more views and a lot of new subscribers, and I got to tell you, I'm very thankful. Thank you very much. I'm just a little guy with a screen capture program and a love for chess, and I appreciate that. It's kind of like applause in a way. It makes me feel good. Anyway, folks, I'll say what I always say at the end of my videos. If you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.